Orcs, broken elves, twisted and beaten into their new forms. They're the bread and butter of most of the evil armies, no matter how far down the tech tree they are, since they are often have some form of unit that covers the gaps in certain evil faction starter unit sets. That, or they are the starter units. Let's look at the form first. Here's the first form, none of which seem to stand out. The damage of the Cave Troll, Mountain Troll, and Ravager are very high, but after converting the stats to damage per commander, you will find that their damage is actually quite average, though the Ravager's damage is still very good. 4 Ravagers can do more damage than 100 other units. The Grunt Slayer's damage and siege are okay, but the Scout Slayer's siege is worse. The Troll must be better at everything because he is massive, but since he takes up so much conscription time and resources, of course he needs to be matched with high damage. As for the other 3 indicators, wow, what's going on here? The Troll's HP is just too high. Such a form will affect our look at the other stats. So let's remove the Troll's HP stats first. This way we can see that the Orcs' Warg cavalry speed is still really high, and the units with mount are faster. For defense, the Scout Lair is weak and the others don't seem to be very strong either. The resources and conscription time are the most for the Trolls, but they should be worth it as they are the only ones who can break through strong walls and gates of structures more easily. Orc infantry are anti-tank infantry that have the ability to lessen defense. Go after low attack power units first, or both. First of all, we have the Grunts, who are a tier 1 melee unit. They are largely inexperienced soldiers that need to be told how to hold their weapons properly. They are basically cannon fodder, and the ones with the lowest attack stats tend to be annoying tanks and blocking the way to the archers. Next we have the Brutes, who are the tier 2 melee infantry, much better than the Grunts. They are Grunts who survived enough fights to attract the attention of the higher-ups and are rewarded with better equipment. They can break armor and weaken enemy defenses, and they don't waste time trying to kill the least deadly enemy on the field. Then we have the Crushers, who are a tier 3 melee infantry, the top of the Orcish food chain. They have the bullying tendencies of the Grunts mixed with the armor killing ability of the Brutes. This usually means that they'll go after the enemy tanks first. Now we have the Orc Warg Cavalry, who are fairly standard cavalry except for the fact that they ride wargs into combat. Raiders are special in that they do extra damage to other cavalry. First of all, we have the Scouts, who are tier 1 melee orcs on wargs. Few orcs survive their first encounter with wargs. Even fewer are able to ride them. So the Scouts undergo intense training to form special bonds with the beasts. They only have the mountain skill, so not particularly special in any way. Then we have the Trackers, who are the tier 2 melee orcs on helmet-wearing wargs. Trackers train their wargs to seek out enemy mounts, which is a practice considered despicable by all. They focus down targets with lower attack powers. Then we have the Raiders, who are the tier 3 melee orc cavalry on heavily armored wargs. Only the hardiest wargs are strong enough to adorn armor and remain nimble. Such wargs make up the heavy cavalry of Orcish army. And rather than going after people with blunt blades, they prefer fighting other cavalry units with an anti-cavalry bonus. Now for the final part, which is Trolls. Technically, they are not orcs, but Trolls are typically under the same quarter structures as them. They are large units available only to evil armies with extremely high stats. Of note is their siege stat. After all, a giant with a mace is a great way to build walls in reverse. But with a small unit count, they also have vulnerabilities to certain ranged units like Master Axe Throwers and Bow Knights, since those guys aren't good enough to aim for the eyes. Now out of this list, first comes the Cave Trolls. They are the tier 2 large melee unit. Your standard giants, they have made it their purpose to wreak havoc on enemy defenses. They have the stats that dwarf other units, but only have 4 trolls per command point. They are great for both combat and tearing down walls. Then there are the mountain trolls. They are the tier 3 large melee units. Basically a cave troll but better. They have evolved to be efficiently and effectively destroy people and structures. They can use their massive presence skill to attract attention towards them and away from your squishy ranged units and stalkers. Finally, we have the Ravagers. They are the tier 4 Mordor unique elite large melee units. They are some really angry trolls native to Mordor. They wear heavy armor and have a chance to strike the entire enemy army with one of their blows. So you don't want these big guys knocking on your fortress gates. That's all for this video. I'll be seeing you next time.